So I'm enjoying the fire here at the Collector Inn. It's a beautiful morning in St. Augustine, but ready to start our day?
Ready to start the day.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
St. Augustine is actually one of the oldest European-occupied cities in the United States. It is the oldest. I believe it's been occupied since 1535, which actually makes it almost 500 years old, which is crazy in U.S. history time. So let's go to St. Augustine and see what we can discover. Welcome to St. Augustine's Public Square. This was actually the first public square in St. Augustine's. And this is important because you can see right over there is the water. That's the bay where the ships would bring goods in. And that's the Bridge of Lions, just to get an orientation point to where we are. So now this is the public square. This is the place where the goods would be brought in from the ships or outside the city walls from the farms, brought into this area and then traded. In addition to this, we have the first treasury right over there, which was 1929, and the old governor's house there, which was also part of the city so that they could watch the goods come in and tax them. So this would be the central hub of daily life in St. Augustine. This is where people would come to meet, they would come to go to church, they would come to get their goods for the day, they would come to sell their goods for the day. So this restaurant is Casa Riena, and we ate here last time we came. They have another great outdoor rooftop bar. They have all this outdoor seating and good place to come have something different, which is Mexican on your Florida vacation. So one of the things I really like about these old towns and the historic parts is that the houses have zero setbacks. You can see they're right against the street. So there's no sidewalks, they're right butted up right to where the street starts. And it's kind of a neat thing, and that's one of the ways that I know I'm always in a historic district.
So this is an example of how narrow the streets are in St. Augustine, or some of the streets anyways. Most of the back streets. And you can see that the setbacks for the buildings are right on the street.
So this street was called Avil Street. And I hope I'm saying that right. I may not be for the locals. But this was also called the street of the Spanish hospital. So this was the street where the hospital was back in Spanish times. But it was named Avil's because it was named for or in honor of Mendez, who was the founder. And we saw his picture earlier. Of St. Augustine in his hometown was Avil. So that's why this is called Avil Street. Hi, so we've made it to St. Augustine and we are here at the Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth is something everybody wants to find. How do we reverse the clock and get younger and younger? Well, Ponce de Leon found the Fountain of Youth right here in Florida. So why don't we check it out, see if it works for us. So here we are, and we are at the oldest continuous European colony in the United States. Now, when the settlers came, they came and started some other colonies before this one, but they didn't actually go. So if you think of Roanoke and where they landed Plymouth Rock and all that, the colonies actually didn't survive. But here in St. Augustine, as soon as they landed, there was always someone continuously living in this place. So let's go see where they live. Right on that spot, 509 years ago, is where they claimed America.
And that's the claim right there. That parchment paper we found inside the salt cellar. And since then, we have had it carbon dated by the University of Phoenix, Arizona, and it comes out to be well over 500 years old.
Wow, that's incredible.
And when Ponce de Leon was claiming Florida, on this spot, Florida went from New Jersey to California, from Texas to Canada.
Really?
You lived in Canada back in those days, you lived upstate Florida.
Oh my gosh,
Now
that's
about 40
crazy.
years.
Wow.
Now the dioramas in here, these scenes you're looking at.
Yeah.
This is what you would have seen at the 1939 World's Fair.
Okay.
Up in New York City, this was in the Florida Pavilion for the New York World's Fair in '39.
So we're standing in a place where people lived 3,700 years ago.
Yeah, more than that, I own this area at least 4,000 years ago back,
Wow.
but they know for sure at least 3,700 right here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the large village, Temecula, the largest nation in Florida, they actually range from Cape Canaveral to Savannah. Now, if we tell you a whole bunch of
This is the Fountain of Youth.
I'm thinking during my trip that we're going to go back.
never came here. Yep.
Like, yeah, it's hard. It's like hard water.
So
It's
what they told us actually is that the water from the Fountain of Youth comes from the Florida aquifer that basically sits underneath most of Florida. So we live over on the Tampa side. And they said actually every single day if we're drinking tap water, we're drinking Fountain of Youth tap water. So can't
Oh,
say
that's
that
right.
it really
Right out
helps
of
me
the
that
tap.
much, but that is what they say. So if you come to Florida, any place you drink tap water, you're actually drinking Fountain of Youth.
right there's me and you.
Cheers.
So in this park, they have a lot of peacocks running around. They're everywhere. And you can see them right here. They're just roaming around the park.
Which is so cool. They're wild, they're free-range peacocks.
Hello. I guess they're not shy.
They're used to people. So, I may pronounce it wrong, but it's tinajones. So these are the large clay pots that were actually like the water catchers for the Indians. This was where they kept their water. They were their water pots. So they always had a supply of water, and as we walk around the park, you'll see these big clay pots. And that's what they were used for, fresh water. So these are called dugout canoes. And what's super cool about those is they actually would burn a fire in them and then hatch it and knock the wood out until they had a canoe. So you can see it's just like a big tree that's half fallen, and then they burn it out and dig it out, and then it floats in the water, and that becomes their canoe. And these huts shows examples of how the Timucuans lived. They said the roundness and the pitch of the roofs made it nice in the Florida weather because it kept the insides cooler. So shade and cooling.
Oh, so the heat escapes out the top. So you can see the top doesn't have like grass on it
Right.
or topping or whatever.
Yeah, there's no
Thatch.
There's no thatch on it. And here they said is a typical meal that the Indians would eat. So you can see pumpkins and squash. We've got fish and crabs, oysters, lots of oyster shells they say they found around here. And they said that the people lived in about groups of 200. So that there was about 200 people to a village, and that was the number they needed to help sustain life and help support each other, but not have too many people that they couldn't feed them. Oh, it is way cooler in here.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Alligator skin.
Alligator skin.
And they had fire extinguishers?
No. How about a broom? How about a broom to sweep
Oh, you
out?
think that's what these are, brooms?
Yes, that's a broom. That's what they were used for.
Aha!
Yes.
Look at that, and it works.
And fire extinguishers.
And fire extinguishers.
So they said that each hut lived about 2 or 3 generations of people. This would maybe be their large council hut, where they would actually hold tribal councils and things. And it could hold 60 people in the tribe, most of the adult males. On the grounds is when the Spanish came, this was one of the original Catholic missions. Actually, it is the original Catholic mission in the United States, in America. And it was started by the Spanish. And they, of course, what they tried to do was to convert the Indians over to be Catholics. They always tried to do that. They're beautiful. I'm getting all bit up.
Okay. Look, here you could buy bottled fountain of youth water.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, as you can see, this place looks like a magazine. It really does. Beautifully like a magazine. And you have everything that you need. A beautiful king-size bed, which is very comfortable. Mirror, which is super cool. And you have your own air conditioning unit there, which we have these in some of the rentals that we have, and so it's very, very cool in here, very nice. Super high ceilings, which I love. You even have your own little kitchen over here. With a microwave, so if you want to bring food and save some money, you can do that. This room is really worth the money. Super cute bathroom in here, little shower. So let's start our St. Augustine vacation. All right, so we want to do a quick review of the Lions and Lanterns. Right now we're sitting outside. They have a great fire pit out front, and they say on Friday nights they do movies and popcorn and show, you know, old films that are more than 20 years old, which would be a great little place to do this.
So they said that they put a projection screen up here in the front yard. We're in the front yard right now, and then they show a movie.
Yeah.
With everybody, they have beer, they have a popcorn machine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
sounds like a lot of fun. That's on Friday nights.
Yeah, and they have all these lanterns hanging out in the front yard, which is really cool, and these old oak trees that are sitting here. So one of the things I really love about this place is they really care, like their attention to detail. You know, Josie and Adam are new bed and breakfast owners, but they're really doing it very thoughtfully. We ran into a couple of different guests already, and they're raving about their rooms and raving about what a great find this is. And that's what I would say about Lions and Lanterns, is that this is a great find. You want to be close walking distance to everything. You want to be in a unique location. You want to feel like you're sleeping in a magazine because the rooms are so beautiful. Then this is the place to come to. Highly, highly recommend it. It's really one of the great finds in St. Augustine right now.
Right. Just to add to that a little bit, it's really nice to find owners that really care. And you could tell that Adam and Josie really care about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so nice. They put some thought into it and put a lot of care into it.
So if you're coming to St. Augustine and you want a good deal on a room, because this is a great deal on our room we got, then you need to come to Lions and Lanterns in St. Augustine. I read some of your background actually before we arrived here, as well as looking at the beautiful pictures on your website. I loved your website. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me why you guys decided to do this.
Well, it was kind of a long journey, I guess. But so we've got some rental properties up in Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, I'm a pilot. She used to be a flight attendant, so we're used to short-term rentals and having people stay for short periods of time, things like that.
Is that where you're from, Minnesota, originally?
I'm from Wisconsin originally. And,
Family.
oh, great. Where?
Are you a Packer fan?
I am not.
Packer fan.
I'm just not a
Okay.
football fan.
All right. Well, see, this is a good year not to be a Packer fan.
Okay.
De Pere, Green Bay, like my whole family was from up in that way.
Okay.
So where were you?
Ashland?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We had a cabin way up in Hurley and Mercer. Way up in there. Okay, so you had rental properties and then
We were traveling for 10 years.
that's a lot of travel.
Yeah, we lived on a sailboat for 3 years. Some of that in the Bahamas, like 2 years in the Bahamas.
It's crazy.
We bought an RV and drove around the States for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's when I drove through St. Augustine, was when we were in the RV, and I just, we were still traveling for another probably 2 or 3 years, and I just couldn't get it out of my blood.
Yeah.
I thought about it all the time, and then one of our inn buddies got really sick, and I was like, well, let's look and see what's there again. And we looked, and this was there, and this place didn't look anything like this. but I could see what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And I said to him, no, I don't want to do it because you'll never let me do it the way I want to do it. And he was like, I won't, you can make all the decisions. I'm like, let's do it.
And have you kept to that?
Yeah, he has been really.
As best as I possibly can.
With financial budgets and everything else and considerations, of course.
Yeah, it was supposed to take, the contractor told us it would take 4 months. It's been a year and 4 months.
Really?
And we still have rooms that we are now doing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to get them done.
Yeah, we just have to get them done.
Yeah, I understand.
And it was a
But
hard
I
time to do it.
See, that's what he thinks. But I fight for certain things because I don't want to just get them done. I want it to be. I want people to walk in and feel the way you felt about it.
And she's right.
It's a balance for
Yeah,
sure.
it is a balance. But she's right because that's the thing that, in my mind, makes you guys stand out, right? So you have a B&B, but it's not your traditional sort of old, I'm sorry, I'm old so I can say it. It's not your traditional sort of oldish, place, right?
I think there's a place for Victorian B&Bs, and I love
do
a
too.
Victorian
I
B&B.
stay there. We stay
But
there
I
all the
could
time.
never decor like that.
Yeah.
I could never decorate like that
We just didn't want it to feel like
and make it look good. And that's not my personality.
Yeah.
This is my personality in a nutshell. So okay, so I do want to tell you this one. Sorry, you don't have to put this on anything.
That's good.
So last weekend we had a proposal. Oh my god, this guy called me a couple weeks ago and he was like, I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend. Can you put champagne in the room while we're out? And I was like, oh, I can do something. So then my housekeeper and I totally hijacked this guy's proposal. Okay, so
Hoping he didn't change his mind.
I was like, well, hoping she said yes too. We did a lot of work. So, and so I don't know what they look like. We actually thought it was a different couple for a while. We're like, okay, mill around this couple. And then I'm like, let's make sure. And I text them, what are you wearing? I'm like, oh my God, wrong couple. So we go, we find them. And I give all these people cups, like overflowing cups of petals, and they have them in their coats and in their bags, and they go around this girl, and we're all like looking at each other, waiting. So they just happened to be here the day that the lights went on. So I said to him, "You just happened to be coming one night." He's like, "What's Nights of Lights?" I'm like, "Oh, this is so serendipitous." So the lights go on. I'll count down from 10, right? The lights go on. He kneels down. She's recording. She doesn't know what's happening. She's so excited. She starts screaming. She says yes, and then all these petals just get dumped on them. He didn't know that was happening either. And all the people around are like so happy. It was.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome! You made it so wonderful.
It was one of the best ones. Yeah.
Okay, so proposals are your specialty.
I mean, I didn't
It's
know
gonna
that
be,
was gonna
apparently.
happen, but I do get very, very excited about surprising people with happiness.
Oh, that's awesome. Everyone, I was just here having my coffee. Has an L on it for lions and lambs, but also for Lisa, so I like that. Made me feel right at home. And then I was also reading here about Fort Mose, which is the name of our room. And Fort Mose was apparently the first legally sanctioned freed slave town in the United States. So when the African slaves were escaping the plantations in South Carolina, they heard that the Spanish allowed freedom and sanctuary. So they headed here down to Florida and to St. Augustine. They created the very first town here of freed black slaves, and it was called Fort Mose. So a lot of history in St. Augustine, a lot of firsts. We're going to explore a lot today, so let's have a good one.
So tonight we're eating at the Ice Plant Bar and Restaurant. So we're at the Ice Plant Bar. And we're sitting at the bar tonight, just for something a little different. I ordered an old fashioned. Lisa ordered
Surprise me.
a surprise me. That's what.
Because I heard that the cocktails here are amazing and that they're very creative, and I'm super excited about that. You're gonna keep it for yourself?
Interesting.
All right.
It's not exactly what I was expecting it to taste like, but it's good.
Now we'll have to name this drink.
Oh,
We'll have to christen it with a name.
Yeah, what's your name?
It's
Lisa, but that's really cool.
we're gonna call it the Lisa.
With regards to Lisa.
There we go. With regards, Lisa.
Yeah, that's, makes it sound like a fancy
there we go.
old-fashioned cocktail.
There, love that.
So then we're having a Lisa.
Alisa?
Alisa.
What do you mean? Oh,
That's the name of the drink. Lisa.
or with regards, Lisa.
So
And it
with
sounds
regards, Lisa.
Like, it sounds like classy.
Ah. Did he do good?
Yeah, that's really good.
You like it?
Yeah. It's really good. It's got such an interesting combination of flavors
right?
going on. It's like you get one taste and then you get a second taste. That is cool.
It's got a lot of I didn't use a spiced rum, it has a lot of spice.
Yeah. But then it's got that sweet and it's got something else in there I can taste. I don't know what that is.
So what I did was I took a little coconut cream, passion fruit syrup, allspice dram, cardamom, bitters, cardamom bitters, the rum, and I think that's it. A little bit of lime juice.
Okay, I got the bean salad. It has avocados with it and a spicy sauce, so I'm looking forward to try it. And then back over here, we have the chicken, southern version of chicken and waffles, which is chicken and hoe cakes. We're like, what's a hoe cake? They said it's kind of a cornbread sort of thing, and I think that's what these are here. So we're gonna try them. I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, so we're not doing the distillery tour today. However, this is the gift shop after you come out of the St. Augustine Distillery tour. My brother Richard and I did this last time we were here this summer.
Lights, St. Augustine. It's amazing, beautiful. The number of lights on some of the streets are crazy.
A lot of lights. Here we go. There's one building. That's a lot of lights. Okay, good. So last night we ate at the Ice Plant Bar and Restaurant. They're kind of known, people around here, it's kind of known for their cocktails.
So Josie and Adam actually told us to go there and just go to the bar and tell the bartender to make me something special. So they did, and that was pretty amazing in and of itself. It's really a creative thing they have going there.
I didn't go quite so bold as to have some made just off the cuff. I had an old fashioned. Lisa had a
with regards, Lisa. That's what we named it.
With regards, Lisa. Yeah, it was good, right?
Yeah, it was delicious.
It was a good drink. And now, and you would think it's a bar kind of thing, but their food is right on. Well, we shared two dishes. We had the beet salad.
Yeah, I love my beet salads. If you've been watching, it's one of my go-tos.
And it was super good. It was really good.
It's different, but it was really good.
Now, the other thing I've never heard of before was pan-fried chicken and hoe cakes.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody asks what's a hoe cake. A hoe cake is a little dollar size pancake that's made with cornbread and I think he said also pancake mix. Kind of, I don't know. Very, very good. It was their version of chicken and waffles.
So it was both sweet and savory. So it was the hoe cakes were had a little sweet touch to it, and the fried chicken was savory. And honestly, one of my favorite meals ever. It was that good. It was
I would
a surprise.
almost come back here just for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so good.
And they had a beef Wellington, which we didn't get. But the guy that was telling us about it said it's so good that he works there. He's had it 3 times in the last 2 weeks. So that would also be a great,
almost got it, but then it's so much food.
Yeah, a lot of food. So anyway, so we give that place 2 thumbs up, and if you're in town, definitely go over there. St. Augustine is a foodie place, and every time we're here, we discover new places that have amazing meals.
Right, we're going to go back to a place that we discovered before.
We're going to take you there next.
Right, which is?
Maple Street.
Maple Street for breakfast.
Yeah, so
we've been there before. It was so good. It's worth a trip back.
Let's go see if it's still as good as it was. We'll see you in a few.
The waffles are also great. Anything.
Yeah, right? You have to order one of everything.
Yeah. You're going to get too much food, but we got to go.
Okay, good.
All right. Is it your first stop?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, and desserts free. We always give iced cinnamon biscuit to our first time guests. Today we have peppermint ice chocolate chip biscuits. It tastes like, to me, they taste like cookies.
Yeah, right?
We'll
Perfect
get you
for
one
the
of those.
holidays.
All right?
Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Help you with anything else?
That's great.
I'm here at the Maple Street Bakery for breakfast, and it's located right by Flydor College. So you can see on the streets there's students walking around getting ready to go to classes and coming home from classes already, and it makes for a really nice setting here. So we just got our lattes. The girl told me that she's still working on them, so they're not as pretty as she wanted them to be, but they taste great.
So far, it's really good. I am always looking for the perfect chicken fried steak, and I think it's my brother and I, Richard. Always looking for the right chicken fried steak. Now this looks like it might be on the top of the chicken fried steak list. And
I got the 3-layer cake, which is, oh, here you can see. It's actually hash browns layered and gravy with an egg on top. I don't know, it looks delicious, and if I eat all of this, I will be 800 pounds pretty quickly.
probably not going to eat. There's a lot of food here, by the way.
And because we were first-time customers, they went ahead and gave us these extra biscuits. Yeah, so this was a little
dessert.
bonus. So
Yeah,
let's see,
for being first time.
see how that goes. Okay, we'll take a little bite so you guys can see. Okay. One of the things is they make everything from scratch. So from the gravies to the jellies to the biscuits to the hash browns I just tried, mine is fabulous.
Oh yeah,
Yours?
top contender.
Top contender for the best chicken fried steak ever.
A really good chicken fried steak. Almost got chicken and waffles. Those look amazing too. I took a picture up on the counter of some of these chicken waffles. By the way, you order your food, you give them a name that's not your name. Ours was Freedom. And somebody was ice cold beer.
Because they asked what is the thing that you're most thankful for besides family and friends. And they said ice cold beer. So we've been laughing at the names of what people are saying up here. All right, we're going to enjoy our breakfast. Get the breakfast area, okay?
Yep.
Hi, so here we are at our room at the St. George Inn in St. Augustine's. I'm pretty excited about this location and this property because it's right at the end of St. George Street, which is the main thoroughfare where all the shops and restaurants and things are. It's not exactly the oldest part, it's more of the colonial part of St. Augustine. But it's a great location, there's a lot of cool things to do nearby. But let's check out a room. So I always like it when a place has a little sitting area so that if you want to take some time and sit down, you can do that. This has a humongous king-size bed and nice and comfortable. This feels light. Over here, they've got your coffees. They've got Starbucks coffees, and for your morning. Granite countertops here, and a huge walk-in shower with a rain shower head. That's a really nice size. You can see the attention to detail. Everything's painted in these pretty colonial colors. So you've got the cream walls with the trim in this colonial brown, or taupe I would actually call it. And then out here, we've got a private balcony. And so when you step outside here, we've got 2 rocking chairs on a private balcony. And right there, so you can see, is actually St. George Street. Now, the St. George Inn has a number of buildings that the property is located in. So there's rooms in different buildings. Way across the way over there, that's also the St. George Inn also. And then across there, that's also through that palm tree is the St. George Inn. And right there is another one of their buildings that's the St. George Inn. So there's a number of different buildings here. But it's great to have a place to sit outside with this private balcony. Got multiple rooms because we have families staying with us in St. Augustine. So let's check out, this is a room with 2 queen beds. So it's just set up a little different, and it also overlooks the bayside. So let's see what the view looks like. So here we have 2 queen size beds, very comfortable beds. A lot of room, a very spacious room. Like, these are not tiny rooms. We also have the bathroom, same setup as the other bathroom. I like that the mirrors have the lights in them for your makeup. Those are really nice. And then the huge walk-in shower, actually ginormous. They have the little makeup towels, which I like too. Again, granite countertops, very high quality. You've got coffee for your morning coffee in your room. Seating, ice bucket, glasses. So coming out onto the balcony, you actually have the view of the fort, which is really amazing. So that is kind of, and then the bay is right there now. That's the plus. The downside is you're on a busier street. So this is the main thing. And this is a shared balcony, but you got the bay view and the fort view all right here, and that kind of makes it a special thing. The traffic noise you can't even hear from the room, so it's really, if you're out here and you just want to enjoy things, a great place to sit and have your morning coffee.
Welcome to our Spyglass Walk-in History Tour. My name's Kevin. I'm going to be showing you guys around St. Augustine today. I'm actually a partner in Spyglass Travel along with my lovely wife Angie, which makes me the junior partner every single time. We founded the company 6 years ago. Our direct website is www.spyglasstravel.org. That is the way directly to get a hold of us for our walking history tour and our haunted history tour as well. But very proud of the history of St. Augustine and very protective of it as well. I'm all about the real history. I don't like cleansed history, whitewashed history, God forbid, fake history. History's not always pretty. Sometimes there's some bad stories, sometimes there's some bad people in it, but we can learn from all of it. So welcome to our walk-in history tour.
Harkens back to his first visit to St. Augustine. When he first comes to St. Augustine, the Eastern Seaboard Railroad coming down the east coast of the United States stops coming south in Jacksonville, Florida. After that, you have to catch a ferry across the St. Johns River, and then catch a horse-drawn rail car the additional 18 miles into the city of St. Augustine. Hot, miserable, and a little bit dangerous. Mr. Flagler notes that these rich and powerful folks he's targeting with his hotels will never travel in that fashion. To solve the problem, he buys up all the local rails south of the St. Johns River. There's 3 small railroads. None of them connect to each other. They don't even share the same gauge of rail. But he creates the Florida East Coast Railway. He builds the first railroad bridge across the St. Johns River, and it brings the rail right into St. Augustine, so his guests can arrive in comfort and style. The state of Florida loves what he does with it, because it's going to develop the area. And at this time in our state's history, we're the poorest and least populated of all 44 states. We're so poor we can't even afford to build our own infrastructure. Mr. Flagler can't afford it. So the state of Florida makes him a deal. For every mile of railroad track he will build in the state of Florida, cash out of pocket, they will give him 3,480 acres of Florida land along the tracks. Mr. Flagler knows a good deal when he hears it. By the time he passes away in 1913, he has extended the railroad all the way to Key West. Needless to say, Florida owes him a lot of land. To make the land pay off, he creates the real estate company. But everybody wins in the end. Florida gets that infrastructure built they never could afford to build on their own. So Flagler gets his money back out of the investment by selling off the land he's given in exchange. And the people of Florida win because now industry and opportunity are coming to places they never existed before. And really, he creates Florida in the modern sense that we know today. Now, when Henry starts first building his very first luxury hotel here in St. Augustine with Ponce de Leon, he realizes immediately he's going to have a problem. And the problem is, nothing fun to do in 1880 St. Augustine. To solve that problem, I'll tell you at the next stop, so come on. There's no statue of Henry Flagler out front. He didn't have that big of an ego. And it didn't say Flagler College on that arch. Other than that, it's pretty much unchanged. Now the second hotel Mr. Flagler built, the one with all the amenities inside, right across the street. Today's Lightner Museum opens at the Alcazar Hotel, January of 1889, the following year. Inside the Alcazar, you're going to find a number of things to do, like bowling alleys, gentlemen's clubs, gambling halls, taverns, wet and dry saunas, exercise rooms. Out back is an Italian-style plaza that has croquet, clay tennis courts, and you can even learn to ride a bicycle at the Alcazar Bicycle School. But the centerpiece of the amenities, if you look down this street, you see a rounded area of the building at the back. If we went down to the next street, you would see another rounded area of the building at the back. That's each end of the world's largest indoor swimming pool at the time. It's a city block long. Now the swimming pool sits in a 3-story portion of the building. The 2 levels above the pool are open, so it's open all the way to the roof. And the roof at that time was made up of glass windows. These walls are 18 feet thick at the base, 4 to 5 feet thick at the top, and they're built in a pyramid shape all the way down. Reason for the pyramid shape, you can't knock over a wall that's built like a pyramid. It won't fall over no matter how hard you hit it. The rest of the wall, same shape, 13 feet thick at the base, 3 to 4 feet thick at the top. The real advantage of the fort is an accident. It's that coquina stone it's built out of. Turns out it's cannonball proof. That was a lucky strike. Now, they didn't know that when they built it. They just used the only stone that was locally available. They didn't find out it's cannonball proof until that 1702 siege. The first cannonballs to strike the fort do practically nothing. Then they realized they really have something. Now we know today that when coquina dries out, it leaves air pockets all throughout the stone. When a cannonball strikes it, the air pockets collapse and absorb the shock. Cannonballs will either stick in the coquina or bounce off of it, depending on the angle and the velocity. But if it's another type of stone or concrete that's solid, cannonball strikes that, shock radiates out, and that stone will literally shatter. So this fort is cannonball proof.
Interesting.
It's the reason the fort is undefeated in its entire history. From its 1695 completion until 1900 when it's finally decommissioned. It's 205 years of winning. 12-0 technically. 10 minor attacks, 2 major assaults. No one ever came close to taking this fort by force. It did trade hands a few times due to treaties, but that's activities in other parts of the world, never taken by force. Now the fort was nearly destroyed one time and one time only. I'm going to take you up that hill over there and I'm going to show you the evidence of that near destruction. We'll also talk about the people who did it. The scary thing is, they're still here.
In 1938, the fort is taken over by the National Park Service. The Park Service comes in here, they want to turn this into a tourist attraction. They do no research into the building of the fort or what it's made of. They only want to make it attractive to tourists. So somebody comes up with a less than brilliant idea. Hey, let's put water in the lower moat. Make it look like an English castle. That'll make people want to come see it.
not realizing that coquina absorbs water. So they dammed up the lower moat, filled it up with water 3 to 4 feet deep for the next nearly 60 years. The entire time the fort is soaking it up, becoming heavier and softer and heavier and softer, and finally starts to crumble under its own weight. They finally realized their mistake in 1996. 96. Maybe the water we're artificially putting in here is causing the fort to crumble under our feet. Tear down the dams, the water drains out. The fort continues to move and settle for the next 10 years, dry out. After then, they have mortared all the cracks, and it's been there it hasn't moved since. Cemetery. This is the oldest Catholic cemetery in all of Florida. Around the Colomado, you only see about 100 standing headstones and above-ground crypts. There's over 1,100 burials here that we know of. Most of them are unmarked due to the British period. The British come in 1763. They are Protestant. They hate the Spanish. They hate the Catholics. They tear down our Indian church and use it for firewood. They tear up all the wooden cross markers from the old Spanish cemetery and use those for firewood as well. Those British, they seem so sweet. I can't believe people didn't like them during that period. So most of the graves here are unmarked. In fact, when they put up the walls and fences around the cemetery, they only encase the standing headstones. There's burials out in every direction, under the homes and buildings in each and every direction. It's a very common occurrence here in St. Augustine. We have bodies buried everywhere. San Marco Hotel that stood on that very footprint. The San Marco was our first true luxury hotel in the city of St. Augustine. That's the very first month it was opened, January of 1884. It was a huge 5-story wooden structure, double wraparound porches, and it was so modern for the era, it even featured a this elevator. Pretty impressive for 1884. It showed Mr. Flagler the potential of St. Augustine as a vacation destination, not for himself, but for all the giants of the Gilded Age. That big money tends to stick pretty close together, as big money tends to do today. Most of them lived in and around the New York City area. They would spend their summers in a beautiful little town called Newport, Rhode Island. But Newport winters are no better than New York City winters. So he thought this would be a fantastic winter destination for all those rich and powerful folks. He sets out to build luxury hotels of his very own to draw that clientele down. Long story short, he does work and it changes all of our lives in Florida.
So this is a national park. So if you have a national park pass, you get in with your pass, an annual pass. If not, it's $15 per person. For an annual pass, it's $80 a person. That's good for a year. So this is the drawbridge that goes on into the fort. And this is, our guide was telling us about this structure is to protect the front door, which is right there. And it's all made of stone or a natural coquina, which is taken out of the bay. And when they take it out of the bay, it's super soft where they can literally cut it with a saw, and then they age it for a year and it becomes super hard, but yet
By letting it dry in the sun.
But yet cannonball proof, because when a cannonball hits it, it kind of sinks into it or bounces off of it, but doesn't act like concrete and shatter the whole wall.
Because of the air pockets. And you can see up here or here, like all the little shells that this is made of, and there would be some of the air pockets. So this is just really sediment.
Sediment, yeah, that's right.
Sediment in the river that they cut into these stones and let them cured for a year, and here it is. Pretty crazy. So they said that when the British put siege on this town of St. Augustine, that the town all fled into this fort. So the people from the town fled into this fort, and you can see by the people walking around how big this place is. It's not very, very large, but 1,200 people were living here during the siege. And they brought in all their livestock and everything also. So this was a place, they said they had 3 wells, so they were able to get fresh water. But all the townspeople were living here during the siege, which I think was 2 months, they said. It's about 56 days.
That's a long time for 1,200 people to be living in a small courtyard area.
So this is where the pay chest, where they used to pay their people and important documents. This was their treasury room, where literally their safe room, where they would put all their important money and paper goods, and everything was stored in this room.
Kind of like the vault.
And these rooms are very cool, because I mean, it's not very hot outside, but the rooms are definitely cooler with all this Prohibition stone. So this guy, his name is Osceola. And as you travel around the U.S., there's Osceola streets. There is in Clearwater where we live, and I never knew what it meant or whatever. But apparently this Indian, his name is Osceola, and he resisted the United States forced relocation of Indians. So he was totally against that. And he was an Upper Creek, and his father was a Scottish trader. So he was actually both Indian and Scottish. So he was an Upper Creek Indian and a Scottish trader. So he urged the Florida Seminoles to fight for their lands.
So I'm finding more and more that a lot of history stemmed from here, which makes sense because this was the first established colony.
Yes, this was the first established colony. So we've got Indian history here, we've got African American enslaved history here, we've got European history here, Spanish, British. It's a great place to come and learn about the origins of the United States. So this is Pedro Menendez, and this is what our guide was telling us, that he was sent over by Spain when they heard that the British were coming over. So he was sent over to actually form St. Augustine, to populate St. Augustine as a colony. So he was the original person that came over here and brought people to populate St. Augustine. And he was the person that defended it when the Huguenots landed. The people who were fleeing French persecution came from France and settled up in northern Florida, a little bit north of here, maybe 40 miles. And he was sent up there also to defend it and take it back from them. And we heard the story of that. So this is the guy. Interesting. So what we found out, and I find fascinating, is that you need to look over here. I'm trying to point this way. See that over here?
The entrance to the bay.
The entrance to the bay where the British ships would have come in. And the British ships were stuck out there because they couldn't come into this bay because it wasn't deep enough. So the bay was only 9 feet deep at the tide, and the British ships needed about 20 feet clearance, and they got stuck at the bay. What they say about the cannons is that they were so good at firing the cannons that even at that distance out there, they could actually hit them. So they had to park way outside of the bay, because when they got into that narrow things, the cannon were so good, and the people who fired it, that they could actually hit the ships as they were coming into the bay. So this was a perfect location. It was the only way they could come in and out of here. And at the time, St. Augustine was surrounded on 3 sides by water. So this was the way that they fortified and held against it, and the big tower there was used in order to spot ships coming in and out.
And you can see how narrow the passageway is out there for the enemy ships to come through. So interesting, what our guide was telling us on earlier is that you can see how the wall goes up, and then on the outside the land is kind of sloped out. So as enemy is coming up that slope, they're always at the same level as they're moving, easy targets.
Yeah, so they're
as
not
they're
going
moving.
down.
That's why it's sloped up to the wall instead of being a wall.
Right.
Genius. You can see how thick the wall is here, and how a cannonball would have a very difficult time penetrating that. And the coquina being absorbent of the cannonballs. Either they would stick in it or they would just bounce off of it, unlike concrete or stone where it would reverberate through it and destroy the wall.
Walking around the fort, and we were standing there, you could see that the different holes that were in the fort. And what's what it would have looked like back in the day is more like this. So there would be a cannon actually in each of these holes. So think about the number of cannons that would be fortifying this location here. Just on this one side of the wall, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one side. So 5, and then as you look over there, you can see it's also the same. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there, and then another 5 back over here. So this thing was quite a stronghold. So this kind of gives you a great layout. St. Augustine is not that large. It's a really walkable city, which I really enjoy. So you can see the spires over there, which are part of the old Ponce de Leon Hotel, and which is now Flagler College. And that tall structure over there is it was actually the treasury that opened in 1929 before the crash, the first bank here. Banks were close to the port so they could tax the ships that were coming in, as were the government buildings. But after that tall building was built, the city decided they didn't want any more tall buildings and put a moratorium on it and said buildings can only be so tall. So that's why you can see the skyline. There's not that many buildings.
Okay, so we're walking, this is
St. George
St.
Street
George Street.
in St. Augustine's. And it's early morning, so we like to come before the crowds get busy because it does get crowded on this street. This is the street with all the restaurants and everything. Oh, look. Prohibition Kitchen. We ate there last night. Great stores to browse. Yep, 5 and Dime, Earthbound. Great stores just to go in and out, spend a little time.
So here's one of the best deals in town. I think if you like cigars and you like to have a beer and a cigar, this is $8.99. You get a beer and a cigar. So how can you beat that? This place has a great deal. And since I've been here before, I would recommend this place.
One of the things about St. Augustine are there's a lot of bums. I have to say that's one of the most surprising things when you come here. Apparently the city lets them stay on the street and beg. So,
A lot of areas that's not allowed.
Morning.
In the,
Yeah.
at least
Especially in the tourist district.
Tourist area. Yeah.
But there are a lot here. And unfortunately, it seems like yesterday we saw one guy who was kind of running the bums. So he was the guy that was going by and collecting what they collected up and asking them how they're doing, like as far as making money goes, if they're having a good day. So that's kind of actually a bit disheartening, because this is what they're saying that the town looked like in 1764. So over on this side there, that's the fort, and then this is how wide the town was. What, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks wide only. And this Indian and his wife from Spain lived here. And they were born in a Spanish mission village, moved into St. Augustine. So they were actually living here in this village. So we didn't eat here this time, but this is called the Sainte-George Restaurant, and we ate here on our last trip, and phenomenal. Highly, highly recommended, but you do have to get reservations. So make sure you do that. And it is right outside the city gates. So these are the original city gates to the city. Now, they say that the pillars used to be wood and then they had to redo them into stone, but this is the original pillars, the original entrance to the city. And we're coming up here on the outside of the St. George Inn, which is a place that we stayed. And it's this pink building. And it is also right next to the city gates. And then here, which would have been right outside the city gates, is one of the St. Augustine cemeteries. So makes sense. They didn't want to bury people within the city gates. So this is from outside the city gates, and one of the tombs right here is from the person was born in 1818 and died in 1879. Godfrey Foster was the person's name. Oh, this person was only 5 years old when they died. Life expectancy, not so long back then. They didn't have all the medicines we have and everything. Walking from the outside in the original city gates. So this were the original city gates to the thing. There would have been wood here that was closed and people watching them, so that you couldn't have people getting into the city without the permission of the city. And then this comes right down to now what is St. George Street, which is now closed off, but it used to be just a dirt road, of course. So these are the original city gates. Apparently this is the Tover House, and the Tover House is actually the oldest house in St. Augustine. But what makes it interesting is that it actually was only built in 1763, and it was built by a British person because when the British came and conquered St. Augustine from the Spanish, they burned the town down. So there's no buildings that remain from the 1600s. So this was actually a British infantryman, Jose Tovar, lived here and built this house, and this is now the oldest house in St. Augustine. Then it went back to the Spanish, and a surgeon lived here, and a Civil War general lived here, so a whole bunch of people. So this is the Gonzalez Alvarez house, and this is actually the oldest house, so pan that way. And it was next to the Tovar house. And it says here that it was built in 1702, and it was originally a one-story rectangle with 2 rooms. And it was again built by the British after the Spanish had burnt down the place. So the 1 story, so you can see that the 2nd story was probably added with the wood structure later on.
Those look good. Oh wait, here, look. Here, these are it. All right, there we go. That's meat. There we go. Oh, here we go. Dogs have owners, cats have staff.
Oh, so this is the Columbia Restaurant. Can you take a picture of it? Mm-hmm. And we didn't come eat here because we have one of these, actually the original, in Tampa by the cigar factories. But if you are in St. Augustine and you have a chance, the food's amazing. Even their 1905 salad is great.
One of our favorites.
One of our favorites. They have a Cuban, which is delicious. And so the recipes go all the way back. You can see the restaurant since 1905, and the recipes go all the way back that far, and they do a really great job. Oh, and don't forget to get a white sangria while you're there.
Oh yeah, the white sangria are the best.
The best.
For sure. Okay, what is this? Prayer chain.
So it's a prayer chain. So you can write down any prayer that you want to put up here, and then it just stays up here. Is that cool?
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
And there's the overflow down there. Look at that. Overflow.
yeah.
You gonna write your prayer?
So, yeah. I did a prayer because this is what I like, and I want for everybody to have world peace and happiness for everybody and love and joy. If we had tolerance for each other and appreciation for each other and patience with each other, we would have a better place. So that's my prayer.
Oh,
Right here.
well, that's so nice.
So this is the Prohibition Kitchen that we stopped in for dinner. We stopped here once before a while back. It was really good, and we're gonna try it again.
This is a tangerine dream. Try it. Looks delicious.
It's an interesting glass.
It's strong, but it's tasty. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter, just whatever's like.
And then this is the PK signature.
Perfect.
Can you get rid of these or leave them?
Yes, you.
Thank you.
So here we're looking at the short rib grilled cheese sandwich. And this over here is the PK hamburger.
Yeah, the
PK burger,
It's got a whole bunch
which has an egg on it, which I've never had an egg on my burger before. So this is uncharted territory for me. And the grilled cheese looks really good.
My friends, my name is Rob, and I do have the privilege and honor of being your tour ghost host this evening for about the next 90 minutes. And it's awesome because I get to take you through the haunted city of St. Augustine. Some say it's one of the most haunted cities in the nation. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'll let you figure that out on your own. Who are my believers? Raise your hand. Who are my I got up. Oh, well, this is gonna be easy. I'll tell you where the heck I want. I want you to see that. Look, there's one right there. No, but seriously, ask that question. You know, as I said, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm going to show you, and I hope that you're able to show me tonight, because St. Augustine is one of those places. I can't tell you why they're here, but I can tell you that they are. You know, I've got 90 minutes to share stories with you, and I've kind of got to keep us in a, geographically constrained area to do that tonight. But I assure you, if I gave you all, day tomorrow, I could tell you stories all day tomorrow too. We'll do what we can. Now, when we're out here tonight, some things to remember. I won't promise you that you're going to see a ghost. Wouldn't do it if I could. I'm also not going to promise that you won't. And if there's anybody here that was afraid of that, somebody's going to jump out from behind a bush with a chainsaw, that's the wrong place. That's Orlando.
Good.
But tonight, people see weird and strange things on my tour all the time. I mean, weird and strange. Case in point, look right here. Now you know I'm not lying. Things we see. Orbs. Pick a color, any color, because they do. Right? Anything about the size of your fist all the way up to the size of your head. They move around. Just kind of skitting about. They're not like fireflies. They're like on for a couple of seconds and then off. And they move over here and they're on for a couple of seconds and they're off. No, these things just kind of stay on and they just zip all over the place. And that's the way that works. That's one. Orbs. Next thing. Streamers. Imagine my two fingertips are points of light. And notice how they stay parallel and as they move through the air right there. If you see that on your camera, good chance you got a streamer. Zoom in on it. Typically there will be 2 or 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 streaks of light inside of that. So we'll look at that later. Another thing we happen to see is called a shadow or a shade. What that means is I'm up here talking to you and suddenly half of my face just suddenly is obscured by something dark. Well, right off the bat, your tour's improved. And we're going to go across the street over to the Castillo de San Marcos. That is St. Augustine's ancient fort, and I will share a few things with you along the way. All right, we ready?
Awesome. Yeah.
Let's make it so. Please follow me. this. He completely goes out of his mind. My dog goes into this. He's like, which that's not my dog at all. And I'm like, whoa, Cujo, let's take a moment, you know? And so I'm like, maybe my dog can experience something. Maybe my dog can see something that I can't see. So like I asked you all to do over there and asked how you do here, I said, I'll take out my camera. And I took the pictures of myself. I went click, 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 click. I then picked up my 10-pound dog because, well, he weighs 10 pounds. Carried him to the top of the hill and we continued on our walk. But when I got home later that night, and when I did, that's when my jaw hit the table. Because I didn't see anything. Didn't see a thing out there. But in my picture, it's real, real clear. And I'm going to share that with you now.
Where are we looking?
Oh,
Oh, there.
wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, that's a good one.
On that night in question, she got something pretty amazing.
Wow.
Oh, a glowing one.
Yeah. Total girl.
Total girl. That's right.
Dress.
The first one I call the lone sentry. This one I call the woman in white.
That's crazy.
That's neat.
Here's what it looks like when a ghost decides to get up and close with you. In fact, this is the best thing I can tell you. I think this is what it looks like when a ghost decides it's going to give you a hug. So here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Notice when I said about shadows and shades earlier, I said iridescent orange, yellow, and green colors.
Yeah.
Every other picture that this man took up to this point was crystal clear. The Spanish told tales of seeing this leather-skinned, ridiculously large beast, but just like you said, it's a shade shifter. They said they'd see it, and then suddenly it wouldn't be there anymore, you know, but there would just kind of be that presence that hangs. And that sort of thing has been happening not just in the cemetery. I mean, when you look at the cemetery, forget about the walls, forget about the gates, these are new. This used to be just wide open country, so again, don't discount the legends. Sometimes they're there for a reason, right? I've never seen a Sasquatch. People talk about them. I've never seen the Loch Ness Monster either, but you know what? There's a lot of Scots that'll tell you she's real as the day they were born. Who's to say? Has to be a woman. Yeah. Super fickle, I'm telling you. Just playing. But while we're here tonight, I'm going to tell you another couple of quick stories. I'm going to talk to you about this one right over here. See that little headstone that's all by itself right there? That belongs to J.P. Morgan. Not the rich guy.
I was going to say, no way.
Nope. James Patrick Morgan. He lived here and died November 28th of 1877 at the ripe old age of 5 years old. You see, back then, back in 1877, parents used to do something so cruel to their children, it's almost unspeakable. They used to make them go outside and play. I know, it's draconian, really. But nonetheless, imagine this place without the wall. Imagine this place without the metal bars, the big iron gate. What's it look like to a kid? Playground. It's a park. So anyway, James, he comes out here. He's 5 years old. He's playing with his friends, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a group of them. Well, they're playing hide and go seek, and James decides he's going to get fancy. He didn't want to hide behind these above ground graves called ossuaries. He didn't want to hide behind a headstone. Nope. My friend James is fancy. So where does he go? He goes up. And back then, well, you had your choice of trees because you see how big this one is here? Up until 2016, it had a sister. She used to stand right over here. Notice the sapling that's there today. Come back in 300 years, it's going to be more impressive. Kind of like this. James, they say, he decided to play a trick on his friends and he went shimmying up the tree. And I mean, to be able to climb up a tree this size, you'd have to be pretty much a professional climber, am I right?
Well, we'll give him credit for that one. But you know what James wasn't? A professional hanger-on. They said old James got up there, got to messing about, and the next thing you know, he tumped over backwards. If y'all notice right over here, see that tombstone? It's not really straight on top. It's kind of crooked. Didn't used to be. That's where James landed. Snapped his neck, snapped his back. They say it killed him instantly.
Explore the unique and fascinating past of St. Augustine while staying at the Collector's Inn. Taking up an entire city block in the historic area, this boutique hotel consists of 9 buildings that span 2 centuries, from 1790 to 1910, each with their own story behind them. Guests have the option to take part in tours where they will learn all about how Kenneth Worcester Dow amassed his collection over time, which came together as the Collector's Inn today, an experience you won't want to miss out on. Dow's passion for collecting started in the 1930s when he acquired his first home, and by the 1950s he assembled a majestic 9-estate property, from its roots as a general store in the late 1800s to be transformed into one of St. Augustine's most unique multi-family surroundings. Each estate offers an engrossing history all its own. The Collector's Inn offers a tour of their impressive property, and it's well worth taking. It takes about 45 minutes to explore the full history, including details when Dow first acquired them in around the turn of the century. After his death, the entire collection was donated to the Museum of Arts and Science. An 11-year renovation followed suit after the entire estate was purchased by another man. On the north side of the property, in the Spear House, we were delighted to find ourselves in one of the 4 comfortable rooms divided between 2 levels. Our downstairs abode featured a modern aesthetic, with all the amenities you could expect from an updated room, plus its own full bathroom. Overall, it was clear that thought and effort had been put into renovating this place so our stay would be enjoyable and stress-free.
So we just arrived at the Collector's Inn and they greeted us with sangria, which is always a great way to start the trip. And in addition, they gave us these water bottles, and they have a water filter place where you can fill up your water bottles and take them with you. So that's really nice too, because I'm always trying to get hydrated enough when I'm on vacation. So we're gonna look at the room next and Paul's gonna show it to you.
Okay, this is our second stay now, and what we do, just so we can show you as many places as possible, Lisa and I will book one night in each place. This is the Collector's Inn, and of course we're in St. Augustine still. This is my free sangria that I got on the way in, which is kind of nice. We're in unit, I think that's S103.
Yep.
So let's check out the room and see what this one's like. So, so far, what I like about this place is the colors are very neutral, very clean looking. And if I look around, it looks like it's really well kept place. The bed's a king size bed, so it's nice and roomy. I'm sure it's gonna be comfy, it feels comfy. You got a kitchenette, kind of a thing, refrigerator, and it comes with a mini bar. So there's some things that are in the mini bar. And that's another thing I really like about these places. It just feels, even though that this is just a hotel room, it's small, it still feels large because the ceilings are nice and high, instead of feeling like cramped and crowded. And I noticed one thing just now is it has an Alexa. Now I don't know what they're doing. Now it's listening to me. But so evidently this is kind of a high-tech room, and we'll find out a little bit more about that. I'm not sure what that thing does, for the room, but that's kind of interesting. And we have a rubber ducky. Instead of a pillow mint, we have a rubber ducky. I don't know, what does that say, Lisa?
It says, please enjoy a sweet treat and our signature hospitality duck. This duck is yours to take home and join you on your future travels. If we can do anything, let us know.
Wasn't that nice?
That was nice.
Yeah, so a very cool place so far. I'm really liking it. And pillows, I don't know how you guys are, but Lisa and I, we actually bring our own pillows.
Yeah.
Just in case. But I think these are going to be fine. But not all hotels are built equally.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to bring your own pillow, and that's just kind of the way we are. So again, kitchenette, granite countertops. It comes with an espresso, and they actually have the little coffees for you, which is becoming kind of the norm now. I'm noticing instead of the coffee grounds and the percolator kind of a thing, or the drip, automatic drip, it's coming with either the Keurigs or Nespresso, which is really nice. I like that because your coffee is nice and fresh until you want to drink it. Bathroom, again, very clean, very nice. I like the old-fashioned sink kind of look. And this whole room kind of has that feel to it. So actually it's got a nice roomy shower. With a, what do they call this, a rain shower, which is kind of cool. And then you got the separate one here. It's roomy, it's nice. And this is becoming kind of the norm too, is what I'm noticing is the shampoos, the wash, all the soaps are pump style. So you don't have the little refill, or the little soap things that you have to do every time. And of course they have your makeup kit over here with the black makeup towel. So yeah, very nice. I'm liking this place so far. It looks very nice.
Okay, so this is Juan Pan. Everybody thinks this is Ponce de Leon, and that's what I thought earlier today. But come to find out, his name is not Ponce de Leon. It's Juan Pan. And Lisa says it's
because he's from Leon. So from Leon in Spanish is de Leon. So he became Juan Pan de Leon. I don't know how the Ponce came in.
Ponce.
But maybe Ponce is not said Ponce. Maybe it's said Pon. But anyway, so it's Juan Pan de Leon. That's actually his name. Or maybe Juan Ponce de Leon.
But it's fun to say Ponce de Leon. That's why, it's because it's fun to say Ponce de Leon.
After winding our way through town, we arrived back at the Collector's Inn and uncovered a secret treasure, the well. This bar's happy hour is the perfect place to relax twice daily. Once when they first open in the evening for a pre-dinner cocktail, then again just prior to closing time. Refreshed after a good night's sleep, we journeyed to the breakfast area of our stay. We were treated to an array of comforting eats such as egg sandwiches, warm bagels and cereal, and ripe fruit, coupled with a fresh brewed indulgent coffee for the perfect morning pick-me-up.
Okay, so we found this nice little secluded table just for two here at the Collector Inn, here next to the koi pond. The oldest house on the property in the corner there. And just outside the well where we were last night. And here we are. This is what I'm having for breakfast, which is lox and bagels. Very nice. And Lisa's having a breakfast sandwich. And our coffee. So, here we go. Breakfast is served. Hello.
Morning.
What's happening?
Doing some morning reading. Great book by William McCrane, The Hero Code.
The Hero Code?
Yeah, he also does a great video on YouTube. But it's just about how to help make the world a better place. Courage, humility, sacrifice. It's a great book. Inspiring, that's for sure.
Oh, okay, very cool.
At the Collector's Inn, we relished in the historic charm and enjoyments. We had delightful days exploring the area and cozied up around their fire pits at night with the other guests that were staying there. It was a perfect way to step back into an earlier era of comfort and relaxation. This was one of 3 places we visited while we were in St. Augustine. If you enjoyed this video, then please check out our other 2 stays we discovered while we were here. The bed and breakfast style Lions and Lanterns, and the historic Sainte-George Inn located in the heart of St. Augustine. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see our upcoming videos on the top stays and hotels in the sunny state of Florida.